First off, we recognize that people in this generation have multiple social medias. They have Facebook, they have Twitter, they have Picasso, they have Flickr, they have YouTube. You know, there's all these different things out there, and if you really add up the time that you take to manage all of those files and data every day, you're going to realize that it adds up to about 2-3 hours. Maybe you don't sit there for all 2-3 hours, but you know, every hour maybe you'll go check it for 5-10 minutes. After a while, it adds up. And so we realize that that takes up a lot of energy and a lot of time. And so what we've done is we've been able to aggregate all of your data into one location. So in this area, you'd have your computer, online storage, as well as all of your social medias as a drive. So what that means is you use our open APIs, you know, we've set that up, you'd be able to connect to them. And so in this case, you'd be able to drag and drop folders, files, whatever it is, into all these social different drives, and it's going to appear on there the next time you sign on. So in this case, an example will be you're at this wonderful event, you take 200 pictures. Are you really going to take 5 at a time uploading into Facebook? Probably not. So in this case, you can drag and drop that whole folder directly into your Facebook drive, and when you sign on to Facebook, you're going to see that folder already there. And in addition, you can drag and drop that same exact folder into Picasso, into Flickr, all that different types of social media with an easy drag and drop. And in addition to that, we have a public profile page, which is really easy to remember. It's a link that you're going to be able to give out to your friends, your families, coworkers, colleagues, and it's just myweboo.com/me/your username. And what that does is, according to your privacy settings, you'll be able to show the world all of your different social medias and your recent activities on there. So you can choose to let people see what you've done on YouTube, what you've done on Facebook, and all that fun thing. So in this case, if you have family picnic, and instead of having to attach all those pictures on emails and then send them all out, in this case you can upload onto Flickr and give that link to your family where they can actually go there and see all that great things without having to go through the hassle of uploading and downloading and all that. It's definitely about time management. That's the biggest thing. This is actually my third startup, but my first two were the easiest thing ever. You know, my first one was middle of 9th grade. I decided to start my own t-shirt business with a buddy of mine. Not the best idea, you know. We made like $1 extra off of each shirt, and it was a lot of manual labor and time consuming, and definitely not a lot of money. And so we gave that up quick. And then after that, me and a couple friends, we decided to do a market research firm by teenagers. So what that means is we thought of the ideas, why are these market research firms doing all these great surveys with teenagers when we can get to the truth a lot faster than they can? Because when an adult asks a student, why do you use Facebook for? They're probably going to go, I use it to collaborate for homework. That's typically the answer. Like, why do you use Flickr? So we can share photos from our study session, but that's typically the answer that they're going to give the adults. And us being students, we are out there, we know who the trendsetters are, we know how to look for those information. And so we started working on that for a little bit. Then on my SATs, ACTs, AP testing, and I had to really focus on school, crack down on that, just study really hard. And then, but at the same time, I was part of a high school organization called DECA. It's an association of marketing students. So it's an international organization that for students who are focused on entrepreneurship, marketing, finance, all these different things like hospitality, all these. We would go in, we have competitions, we have different networking sessions with business individuals in the community. Most of the DECA chapters are part of the Chamber of Commerce, they're part of the Rotary, all that great stuff. And during competitions, most of the competitions are really applicable. So the competition I personally participated in was Entrepreneurship Written, which is a business plan competition. I got third internationally. It wasn't the same plan for this one, but it's the concept that I was able to write a whole 30-page business plan by myself, present it as if I'm talking to a venture capitalist, and just go through the process of that whole thing before actually initializing and entering the business world. So it's really just a great start, I guess, to being exposed to what the business world is all about. So, let's just say there's, of course, the individuals who use it to connect with friends, and that's a big one. Connecting with friends, setting up events, different, because of the privacy settings that you're allowed to do. You could make an event hidden, and so there's a lot of party planning with Facebook. There is a lot of party pictures that's utilized, but let's just say in this day and age, a lot of young individuals of this generation are very fast adopters, they're very fast learners, they're very eager to take on new networking events and all that. And so when there's Facebook and YouTube and Flickr and all these different things are available, they're going to utilize it. They're going to find a way to utilize it, and they'll find a way to kind of go around the loopholes to do what they need to do, which is have fun and be able to relax, because they already have the educational side that's stressful, that's working hard and being focused. So when they get home and they have this kind of social freedom, right, they're going to try and do something that's different than what they're doing for 8 hours a day. This is actually a really great question, because what it is as an 18-year-old who works in the business industry as well, I've been able to be exposed to what it's like between high school, between college, between young adults who are outside in the industry themselves working, and all of them are really different. Even within the high school range, 9th graders are completely different than how 12th graders are thinking. And so in this case, the best way to answer this question is that, yes, the students who are in computer engineering, the students who are in business, they're realizing that, in this day and age, privacy is becoming harder and harder to do. Once you leave a footprint, you can't get rid of it. Young adults who are working in the industry also realize that. They're going, we got to be careful, this could affect our work situation. Our bosses, our managers, all that can view our information online. They can Google us, they can find all these information we never knew was online before. But then you look at high schoolers, like middle schoolers, they're just trying to live life. They don't realize that the things that they put online can be indexed and can be viewed at a later time. They're just trying to go through life as they are, not really worried about that. And so you're going to see that between high schoolers and maybe first, second year in college, they don't realize this privacy issue, and to them, it doesn't matter. They're going, even with Facebook right now, they're going, we're doing all these other things, but they don't realize it. They're just going, cool, this is a great consumer thing, but they don't realize it. But then once you get older and you're learning kind of the details to everything, you're going, oh, maybe there is more to it. So definitely, online, I have pictures, don't get me wrong, but I'm very careful about how my pictures are put online. I make sure if I'm at an event that I'm very careful what the pictures are taken, the poses I use, the colors I wear. Those things are a little bit more, I guess, advanced, in the way that even the slightest color might be bad. So in this case, we're always trying to rep in the orange and the white. And then online, if you have music, you're very careful about where you get your music, what you're doing with that music, and how you're sharing that music. All those are very important, because those can be traced back to you. And then definitely don't put financials online on Google Docs. Like, students don't realize that sharing something on Google Docs belongs to Google, so they don't realize that. They're just going, oh, we get to collaborate, we get to get homework done. And they don't realize that, well, the thing is that for homework, if you're putting that online, it's not that big of a deal. But once you get older, putting financials online just because you can access it anytime with internet, probably not the best idea. Definitely for work, we don't put any of our, important things online. We try and keep it within our hard drives and all that, just to be safe.